Hello, everyone. This is my first teaching memo. Actually, it's my second, but it's for Module 1, so I'm considering it the first. Module 1 has ended, and Module 2 has begun officially. Football season has also ended, and the Patriots are no longer the defending champs. Congratulations go out to the Kansas City Chiefs' first Super Bowl win in 50 years. Also, Puxatawny Sam, I think it's Sam, did not see a shadow, so we're looking for a early spring. So now we can get on to spring training. Pitchers and catchers report in less than a month. Can the Red Sox recover from having another coach let go after winning a World Series? I also invite everyone to look at my Facebook assessment page. I'll click on it right here. You can like it, and you can get updates from Dr. Tom for the rest of your life, or the rest of my life anyway. ESN 640, there's Dr. Tom with the shades on. Okay, I always start off with a little housekeeping. This section gets smaller as you all get accustomed to my course and working in Canvas. My video will be in two parts. The first part is in the module where it says assignment video. This one will be in the announcement page. I usually post the assignment video earlier than my teaching memo. I created that a couple weeks ago, so you could dive right into module 2. By this time, you should have completed 4 assignments located in the Getting Started and in module 1. 1, Academic Integrity Statement, AIS, and the Memorandum of Understanding, MOU. They both can be found in the Getting Started link. The initial baseline survey, you do not have to cite material or have a reference list. For those 3 assignments and the welcome memo, responding to the welcome memo, you will be getting notifications if you haven't done them yet. So they'll be in your Churro email. Upload your initial post for the Assessment Literacy AL discussion board to be checked by SafeAssign. You don't have to. I received an email of somebody saying they had to enroll and turn it in. Turn it in was Blackboard's plagiarism checking app. Canvas uses SafeAssign, and it checks it automatically as soon as you upload it as a Word document or PDF file. Please, no pages files. And just remember to get a proficient credit, and many people have not been doing this. You have to cite all of the assigned readings. So please keep that in mind. You can always edit your post. And somebody deleted their post and resubmitted it. You can edit it, just, copy and paste right over it, and then repost it. Many of you are posting on the Introduction Icebreaker discussion board. Please feel free to interact with your classmates. Many of you are just posting and never coming back. The whole purpose of it is to get to know your classmates, get to know Dr. Tom. Although in 2 of my sections, I didn't post my own introduction. I thought when I copied the course, it would copy that, but it didn't. So if you want to if you're in 22 and 23, 64022, 64023, you can go back and check out Dr. Tom's introductory post on that discussion board. You're going to have to scroll down to the bottom, though. Lastly, I'm still waiting for a few people to respond to my welcome memo. You have to watch it because I asked you to send me something. And most of you have done that. You will see it's a grade in your mark book, and you'll see a check mark. It's a pass-fail, of course. So make sure you do that if you haven't done it. Occasionally, students panic when they submit assignments late, like the baseline survey, after the informal due date that I had placed in the Grade Center. Please understand that I do not deduct points for late work. I put that assignment is due on the first day, so you would do it first. or one of the first things you did. But there's no penalty for written assignments that you hand in late. As you will see later in the course, that is a grading practice that distorts achievement, docking people, punishing people by using grades. Oh, this is late, -10. -10 for every day you don't hand it in. Oh, you got it all right, you mastered it, too bad, you got a 50. Doesn't make sense. We're all about mastering the learning standards. It isn't about preparing students for real life, because real life, the more they learn, the better they're going to do in real life. So getting students to master your standards is real life, preparing students for real life. Okay, enough of that. We'll talk about that in module 7. No, module 11, I'm sorry. The last module of the course. Just a reminder to receive an A+ for timeliness, advanced credit for your initial post. It must be submitted within the first 4 days. You should get on early so we all have an opportunity to see and react to your comments. The points for that part of the rubric decrease as you delay posting. If you post within the first 7 days, you still get an A. That's why I have 2-week discussions. So all those Sunday people, and there are many of you who wait till Sunday to make your posts. I'm trying to focus on the Super Bowl, and I'm getting all these posts that are being made on Sunday night. How dare you interrupt my Super Bowl watching? Only kidding. If you post by Sunday, make your initial post, you still get proficient credit, which is an A. Also remember that you need to use appropriate APA format in your initial post, along with a list of references. If you are not sure how to do in-text citations, please use the Purdue OWLS app website, APA website. As I'm reading your initial post, many of you are doing all kinds of crazy citation formatting, and I'm thinking, where did they learn that? So check my comments on your initial post. Just go to grades, click on your grades, and there's a little feedback link. I couldn't do it on my phone, but you can do it on a laptop. So click on that and you'll see my comments. So I only do it in the first 2 modules or the first 2 discussion boards. So after that, you're on your own. Another part of the initial post that you need to cite all references in all the assigned readings. I want you to support your reactions to the discussion board writing prompt. Please don't create a list. Chapaway and Stiggins said this. Popham said this. Stiggins wrote this. And Edutopia detailed this. I want to, that just shows you can take chunks of stuff out, and please limit your cutting and pasting of quotes as well. I want to hear strong opinions. What are your beliefs? And then support it with the readings. And also connections to your own experience or to other readings, especially the ancillary readings. I get really excited when you cite the ancillary readings. So, work on that. One of the other characteristics in the discussion board rubric is responsiveness and demonstration of knowledge gained by citing the readings. The reason for this is to encourage you to use the readings to support your comments in your responses. Otherwise, the discussion just morphs into a 2-module BS session. Oh, how do you get kids to attend class regularly? No, I don't want you talking about that. I want you talking about assessment. I use the discussion boards to get you to apply what you are learning. You can make connections to yourself as a teacher learner, but you also need to support your opinions with evidence. You only must use a source if you share new information. So if you share new information, cite it and then put the reference down below so we all can have access to it. So otherwise, if you're using our readings, just put Chapui and Stiggins, just put Stiggins, just put Edutopia. You don't have to do 2009. You don't have to do all that. But if it's something new in your response, this is response posts only. You don't have to you do have to use a citation and a reference. You don't get docked for it, but it's just important for me. So as most of you know that have cited new material, I read it because I'm always looking to add stuff to my course. You'll see later on that I do mention some of the things you've added. And you can also apply to my post. Lots of times I'll put to the person and anyone else, but if I don't, that's okay. Respond to it. Somebody in one of the sections already jumped in and said, I know you weren't talking to me on this, but I want to respond to this. That's encouraged. Respond to me. And I know in many of other courses, professors don't get involved in the discussion boards, which just boggles my mind. But I do, as you'll see. And so jump in there, and I may not respond to everybody's initial post. It's pretty difficult when I have 60 students, and I can't. I try to respond to as many as I can, but most of the times I don't respond to everybody. So don't feel bad. Just it's usually the people that get on Sunday night or later. Every module starts with an overview page, and I'm going to have and I think I show it in my assignment video. And if you click on it, it has the learning targets, it has all the assignments, ancillary materials, but if you scroll down to the bottom, there are 2 anchor activities. Anchor activities are things that take a while to finish, and that when students finish their work, you can have them working on anchor activities. So, everybody says, what do I do with the kids that finish first? Well, anchor activities are perfect. So we have vocabulary. You've already had a bunch of vocabulary words: formative assessment, summative assessment. You might have even had criterion reference assessment in one of the readings. So you can fill that out, your vocabulary, fill it out in your own words. Try not to write. I'm not going to take points off if you use a dictionary definition or a glossary definition. But use your own words, but make sure it's accurate. I mean, I've had people every semester, because it's the final assessment you hand in, and they say, Dr. Tom, you marked all these questions wrong, and it's worth a quiz grade, so, it's worth something. You told me to put it in my own words. Yeah, but you have to be accurate. Formative assessment isn't just a couple of assessments I use at the end of class to get an idea of what's going on. No, formative assessment is a process, and you better say that or you're not going to get full credit. All right. So what else do I want to say here? So you have vocabulary in your own words, and you have your final baseline survey, and cut and paste some stuff from your initial posts, like formative assessment. What's a definition of formative assessment? What's summative assessment? What's criterion reference assessment? So you can be filling that out as you get along, because I received a very nasty note when you do your course evaluation. It said, and he had us do these 2 assignments, vocabulary and vocabulary notes, and they're worth 15%. One of them is, vocabulary isn't, but the final baseline survey is worth 15% of your grade. But if you're filling it out as you go along, you just hand it in at the end. So the person who complained wasn't watching my teaching memos, and so they weren't filling it out as they went along. They had to do it at the last minute, and it's pretty considerable assignment, because you have, I think, 6 questions, and there's different parts to them, and you have to use citations for them. So don't be crying at the end of the semester. Fill it out as we go along. All right. If you see one of your discussion posts has been edited by me, I did that in the introductory one when people put a link to their picture instead of uploading their picture, or attach their picture. I also do it in your posts where you add a web link. There's a way to make your web link live. You highlight it, and then you copy it, and then you click the link icon in the text box. So if you don't do it, I do it, because it's much easier. Okay, the big ideas for the first module, the first module and the discussion board are still ongoing for another week. They're meant to get your feet wet regarding assessment, what's good, what's bad, and how we're able to use the process to increase student achievement. I was very impressed with the amount of participation, especially during the week. I like that, because then it gives me time to read, digest, respond, rather than Sunday night where I get to go, oh my God, there were 50 posts on Sunday night. And of course, I go to bed early. I usually start packing it in at 9 o'clock. It picked up a little on the weekend, but overall, great involvement, deep conversations with evidence from experience, from relevant web material. Many of you are also engaging with me. I get excited about that, as I said before, which is something I relish. The discussions centered around the appropriateness of large-scale accountability tests. In Module 6, we will be exploring how these are made and how they compare with teacher-made tests, which, by the way, no one seems to mind. Although in my 4022 section, someone shared an article written by a teacher who wrote that he had no idea how to create assessments when he began teaching. And from what I read, I still don't think he has a real grasp on assessment literacy. But so read that article, keep an open mind. Just because you did not do well on these tests does not make them worthless. There were discussions about pre-K assessment. I don't specifically focus on pre-K assessment, but I have added a section at the end of all the modules. You see, I have 2 sections at the end of all the modules. One is specifically about pre-K assessment, and other one is resources and stuff you can download to make you a better teacher. Also, you pre-K people can share relevant pre-K assessment stuff. I did share in one section 3 different standardized assessments or commercially created assessments. So if you can do that as we go along and they're pertinent to the discussion, add that pre-K information so we can get all the pre-K people involved as well. There is an article, and I've referenced it here in my teaching memo from the National Association of Educating Young Children, NAEYC, on building environments that encourage positive behavior. This is how you can help the course grow, by sharing relevant web articles that enhance your understanding, especially in the areas of pre-K. I'm adding stuff to my course all the time. One of my students last semester said, geez, Dr. Tom, I asked for notifications every time there was something changed in the course, and man, you're changing stuff all the time. And usually it's stuff we've already gone over. Occasionally, if I change something that is really relevant now, you'll get a notice right away about it, that, hey, something changed, because I'll click that, notify people that there's a change. In section 640.23, there was a pertinent web article shared. One was from the What Works Clearinghouse, a depository for research-based strategies. So you should be familiar with that website, especially for response to intervention process, where we have to use research-based strategies in the classroom, research-based strategies at each tier, 1, 2, 3. So that's where you'll find them. There's also some other places you can find them too. I'll talk about that later. It was a rather lengthy discussion of using data to inform instruction. The section I wanted to highlight was about student goal setting and self-evaluation, a big part of the formative assessment process. The authors list these points as to how a teacher can begin this process. 1, explain expectations and assessment criteria before you start. This is what we're going to talk about. These are your learning targets. This is what I'm going to use to assess you. Provide feedback to students that's timely, specific, well formatted, and constructive. We're going to go into feedback when we start doing discussion boards where we're creating things and we're giving each other feedback. We're going to be talking about how you give good feedback. I'm going to have several articles on that. Provide tools that help students learn from feedback. Okay, those are formative assessment tools. And use data analysis to guide instructional changes. so often. I see school districts collecting data, and then it goes into a black hole. You know, in my wife's district, they're always asking her to collect more data. And I keep asking her, well, what are they using it for? Nothing. She said they're just collecting it because the board wants to see it. So the board sees it so they can yell at the teachers so we can keep this process, the circular process going. Collect data, give it to the board, yell at the teachers. Some of you responded to my questions about formative assessment, which according to Black and William and Hattie is one of the most powerful interventions that a teacher can use to improve academic achievement. Remember that. I asked how your understanding of it after reading Chapuis and Stiggins, who pages 2 through 9 give a pretty good discussion or a pretty good description of what formative assessment is and how powerful it is. And I asked some of you how your perception or your understanding of formative assessment has changed since you wrote that initial baseline survey, which I want you to talk about or write about in your final baseline survey. How has it changed? You'll hear that noise. That's my phone getting people who are doing the discussion board. So that's what happened during the Super Bowl. All those dingings were going on. Excuse me. I should silence that sucker, but I'm almost done. In a couple of sections, I posted a list of what it takes to be assessment literate, taken from an article shared by one of you from Michigan Assessment Consortium. You'll notice I'm not giving names here. I used to give names of people that shared things, but lots of times it's the same people and other people would get angry. You're only talking about a few people in your memo. So now I don't mention names. I just said somebody shared it. So don't feel bad because I'm not mentioning your name. It's just, I don't want to create any discomfort. And that article there's a self-assessment in it. If you click on the link I have in my teaching memo transcript, it'll take you to a site, and on the right-hand side, it has a couple of links. One is a self-assessment, so you can take a little test to see how assessment literate you really are. Learning targets will be a big idea of this course. Having specific, measurable, and student-friendly goals is imperative to have students master your standards. If you don't know where you're going, they'll never get there. And as you will discover in our test creation process coming up, starting in Module 4, having learning targets that are specific and measurable is important and not easy. But it'll make your assessment easier so you can analyze your results and use those results to inform your next steps. So that's it for this week. I'll be back with another teaching memo next Monday, which will be 2 days before Valentine's Day.